All right, so we are live. Quick review. Okay, what are the 5 characteristics of a verb? What are the 5 characteristics of a verb? Thomas? Number is correct, yeah. And has to do with time. Tense, yeah. Okay, so those are the 5 characteristics of a verb. All right, today specifically we're going to be talking about voice. Okay, the voice, what are my 2 choices for voice? Okay, active or passive. Okay, now just as a review, I heard the word indicative. That has to do with mood. So there are 3. We've got the indicative. Yep, subjunctive. Commands. What's the word for command? Imperatives, yeah. Whoops, imperative, sorry. Okay, now in terms of person, we know this. What are my 3 choices? It's easy.
First, second, third.
Yeah, first, second, and third. Okay, number, what are my 2 options? Yep, singular or plural. Okay, and tense. How many tenses are there in Latin? 6. Okay, can we list them? In the present system, we've got the present, imperfect, and the future. Okay, and then in the perfect system, we've got the perfect, pluperfect, and the future perfect. Good. All right, you guys are getting better at this. Okay, good. So we know our parameters here. Okay, this is just review. These are the 5 characteristics of verbs. Sorry, my handwriting's kind of messy. Okay. Do you need me to write bigger than that?
Yeah, that's okay.
No? Anyone? Okay. Okay, now, we're going to talk specifically about voice, active versus passive. Well, rather just passive today. Okay, how do I form the passive voice in the present, the imperfect, and the future? Do you remember?
Can you repeat the question?
How do I form the passive voice in the present, imperfect, and future? If we don't remember, let's do it this way.
Something was done?
Something was being done, yeah, essentially. But let me pull up this. Okay. And drop. Turn that on. Bloop. Okay. Notability. All right. So if we take a look. Okay, this is that verb study guide that's all located on the portal for you in Essential Resources, right, with all the characteristics and fun, whatever, kind of blocked out. All right, now here's our chart. Okay, I'm going to draw your attention right now just to these 3 tenses, the present, the imperfect, and the future, right? They belong to which tense? Which verb family? The present system, good. Okay, now, up here, these are all active endings. Okay, to make it passive, you need these set of endings right down here. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that. All right, but for all intents and purposes, what do we have here? We've got R, ris, tour, moor, mini, and untor. Okay, how do we remember?
The turtle thing.
Yep, 4 risky, turtles,
Murder.
yep, murder, mini, centurions. Okay, and that's how you remember the endings for the passive voice. Okay, now in the imperfect, it's super easy. It's just aris, tour, more, mini, and untor with a ba, because what kind of sheep go ba?
Imperfect.
Imperfect sheep. Okay, and what kind of sheep go bo, bi, bi? The future sheep. Okay, so it's got those same endings. Whoops, sorry. It's got those same endings, aris, tour, more, mini, and untor, just with bo, be, bi, or bu in front of it. Okay, so that's the passive voice in the present system. Now, let's talk about the passive voice in the perfect system. Okay, now remember, the perfect system, let's get rid of all this so you're not distracted by other things. The perfect system includes the perfect, the pluperfect, and the future perfect tense. Okay, now, the passive forms are pretty simple. It's going to be 2 words, though. So rather than adding an ending like we've been doing, it's 2 forms. Okay, so let's take a look at the perfect passive. Okay, so if you notice, like the way to read this, right? This is where the passive stuff would have gone, but because it's too much, it doesn't fit, so I had to kind of do like a bubble out of that space. Does that make sense? Ish? Okay. All right, now, all it is the 4th principal part. Okay, so think porto, portare, portavi, portatus. Portatus, right? That's that 4th principal part. Okay, so we've got portatus a plus sum. Okay, then the second person singular, portatus a plus est. And portatus a plus est. Okay, now we move to the plural, right? It becomes portati a. Why does that change, do you think? Because it's plural now, right? Okay, and then you take sumus, okay? Or that plus estis or sunt. Okay, so all you're doing is you're adding the 4th principal part, using the 4th principal part of the verb, and using a present of sum sfui futurus to be. Okay, that's how you form the perfect passive. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, do you need to write that down as like a way to conjugate that? All right, so let's put that into words up here. Okay, so the perfect passive. Essentially, the formula is the 4th principal part plus the present of sum. Sum esse. Fui futurus. Okay, now what's nice about these passive verbs is that the 4th principal part, right? You saw how it was listed like portatus a What other part of speech is listed like that? They usually give 3 forms. Adjectives, yeah. Okay, so what's nice about this, these are going to have 1st or 2nd declension adjective endings that match with whatever the subject of that verb is going to be. Okay, so it's going to help you kind of figure out, it can help you figure out what the subject is if there's any ambiguity. You'll see examples of that in the reading. It'll just help you though. Okay. May I scroll? We good?
Oh, sorry.
2 seconds? Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about the next one. Okay, the pluperfect passive. All right, similar formula. It's just the fourth principal part, okay, with our adjective endings, plus eram, eras, erat, eramos, eratus, and erant. So it's just the imperfect forms of sum esse fui futurus. Okay, so let's write that formula down. Okay, so far does this make sense? It's kind of like a logical progression. Okay. Okay, give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Okay, may I? All right, last one. Okay, if we follow the pattern, let's talk about the future perfect passive. Okay, again, it's just the fourth principal part with our adjective endings, plus ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, erunt. Okay, so the future of sum esse fui futurus. Okay, same type of deal. So let's write that up above. Okay, and that's it. That's the passive forms. In the indicative. Yep, because there's also the subjunctive. Okay, so you guys see how those are formed? Does that kind of make sense to everybody? Are there any questions about how to form the passive voice in the perfect system? No. Okay, so pretty much our big takeaway from today is that in the present system, you just add those endings, ar, ris, tur, mor, mini, and untor. And in the perfect system, it's going to be the fourth principal part plus some tense, either the present, imperfect, or future of sum esse fui futurus. That's it. Okay, that's the passive. Do the forms kind of make sense, like how to...
Yeah.
Okay, and if you forget what to do, where can I find this information? Is it available for you? On the topics page in Essential Resources. Okay, it's called the Verb Study Chart or something, Verb Study Guide, I think. All right, and I think I did also include the steps for conjugating. So if you do forget, you could always just go there. Yeah, see, I've given you steps for conjugating in a lot of different things, if you forget. Okay. Any questions on that? So it's pretty straightforward. Okay.